Alright, what's up, Dragon Brew? Today we're going to do something fun because we did this like during the pandemic and I kind of wanted to see how my opinion changed, but we're going to talk about partners as Planeswalkers. Now, not just partners that you play with in Commander, because we talk a lot about that, but actually how we would judge these Planeswalkers on who we'd have as a partner, or the most dateable, if you will. It was really funny last time. We're going to go over, see if my opinion changed on any of these. But a lot of you were new here and you didn't see the last time, so let's talk about these and see how they work out. Now, the first one we're starting with is a Johnny, because alphabetically, right? But here's the thing. A Johnny has probably some of the most green flags of any of the Planeswalkers we're going to run into, right? Because he's a war veteran. So if you're in the military service, whatever, right? He's a father, right? He watches out for his friends. Like, he's also been through a lot. I think that's the thing with the Planeswalkers. They're all going to have a bunch of trauma, so you got to be prepared to deal with that. I don't see how we could rate a Johnny. Well, okay, maybe you're not into furries or whatever, cool. But, like, I don't think he could be rated worse than A tier. And we may come back, compared to other Planeswalkers, that he might get boosted to S tier. We may have to have a curve based on Planeswalkers. Like, I don't really know. Now, next up is Angrath, right? I feel like last time I did Angrath pretty low, but I think it's just because, like, he's still a pirate and everything, right? Like, you can only rank those so high. Now, if I remember right, he's like a family guy as well, so that's kind of cool, but, I mean, minimal, I can't give him more than a B tier. You know, I think it's fair to say you can't really completely trust a pirate, right? So it could only go so high. I know it's kind of dumb logic, but I mean, we're going to have dumb logic to a lot of these. And I'm going to try not to go too long because there's a lot of Planeswalkers. I think we're even doing more than we did last time. Oh, I have no doubt. I felt on Amanatu. There's no way. There's no way. First off, Amanatu is like a kid anyway, so that's already weird. So that's already an instant no. But also, kind of just creepy, right? I don't do super creepy. Like, I couldn't imagine, like, waking up to a partner just, like, staring at you with creepy doll face. Like, that's not a thing for me. So, F. I mean, just easy F. Oh, who's this? Arlen Cord, I guess, is next up. All right, well, this one's a little different because seems really good. Matter of fact, didn't Arlen have, like, that home for taking care of a bunch of the kids or something, like an orphanage? Granted, I think some of them end up being werewolves, so that's probably why she was interested. But that is the thing, right? You got to be okay. One, you got to at least be a dog person, or this ain't going to work out at all. So that's already like your first barrier to entry here. But, I mean, it is a werewolf. I mean, I don't know. It depends on how much you think you can trust a werewolf, I guess. If you think you can, then probably higher. If you think you can't, that's a real issue. But, like, here's the thing. If we're okay with, like, a Johnny or Angrath, can we be that much more upset with Arlen being a werewolf? Right? So I guess that puts Arlen at least a B tier. I guess I was going to say C, but more that I logicked it out. I'm like, so far, it wouldn't make her any worse than the other two, so I guess that's reasonable. But all right, Ashiok. Ashiok's an interesting one because, again, I think we fall into the just creepy, where I can't do the creepy, man. I just don't. Like, one thing, if I'm watching a movie, can't live with it in my house. Like, Amityville Horror, I've said it before, that house starts talking, the house just owns new furniture. I'm gone, right? Like, I can't do this with Ashiok. Ashiok doesn't even have, like, a real face. You know what I mean? Or hair or whatever, just like smoke coming out the top. Like, I don't know, weird. So, on Ashiok, I gotta give, like, a D tier. Some of y'all probably gonna move Ashiok way up on your list. That's why this is my list. I'm sure y'all might as well get in the comments now because y'all are gonna disagree with so many of my choices. Chandra, okay. This is an interesting one on Chandra because Chandra's proved her loyalty to her friends over several years, which is obviously very good. You know, she still loves her parents and everything else, so, like, that's awesome. Bit of a hothead we've seen a few times. So that's a thing, but I think that still gives her a solid B at the very least, right? I don't think it would make sense to put her lower than that. Arguably, she could even be an A tier, right? You know what? for now, I think I'm going to let her ride with the Johnny on A tier. Though, you'd probably have to fight Nissa for her because, they kind of have a thing. So that's something else to think about. But, it's all good. She can go in A tier for now. And then we have Dak Faden, which he is one of the important people from Ravnica, but he is also considered to be one of the most or the best thief in the multiverse or whatever, right? So if that's what we believe, you can't be married to somebody that's a kleptomaniac just going to steal everything. So, hell, you don't even want to date somebody like that. So we can't give him higher than C tier, right? Maybe even D tier, because like you just straight up, he's just telling you who he is and what he's about. So I'm going to park him in C for now. He'll be the first one to fill that category, but realistically, he's probably a D tier type character for us. Now, Duretti, I bet you I haven't even gone back and watched it, but I bet you my commentary on Duretti is the same as what I'm thinking about right now. That I think people are going, it's a goblin, whatever. Okay, we got to set some of that aside because we're in fictitious magic world with a bunch of different races and beings or whatever. But he does have a wheelchair, and wheelchair gets you a lot of things, right? Like you get priority access at amusement parks. You get to use handicap parking spaces. You get early access into events. You get front row seating at concerts and stuff, right? So there are some benefits if you were going to get with Ready, is all I'm saying. Not necessarily great. I know I'm probably going to offend somebody with that, but I'm just saying, Duretti comes with a lot of benefits. So, I mean, okay, Duretti is also kind of a mob boss. So there is that part of things that's kind of tough. But, oh wait, no, I have him confused with Kranko. They're different. Never mind. So, yeah, I think, like, he's got to at least be B tier, right? I don't know. We'll come back. I'm sure we're going to have to move some of these around as we go along. I literally forgot who this next dude was. I had to go look up who's that. Like, this is Davril, I think, just in a different art. But like his whole shtick is being a lawyer. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he's more than that. He has powers, but like he makes deals and contracts or whatever. As far as I know, like that's not that exciting. If anything, it's kind of annoying. Though, be hard for somebody to screw you over because he would make some pretty ironclad contracts that could be kind of sweet. But if that's all he's bringing to the table, other than like his sharp good looks, what are we doing? I mean, you're getting a D tier. You got to bring something more interesting to the table for me. Okay, I had to do another quick check for Domri Rod that I just realized. I was pretty sure during War of the Spark, he was willing to side with Bolas and the bad guys to, I guess, save himself. So you already don't have loyalty. And you know what? With that alone, I can't. You got to go straight to F tier. Like, cool card. I like Domri Raid's cards a lot. I've played with them several times. But as a character, like, dude, you're just there for the fight. Like, who wants to be with somebody who's going to fight all the time and also just turn around and side with your enemy, right? Like, he's the ops, literally. Moving on, we have Elspeth next up. This is an interesting one. I think Elspeth has to rank pretty highly. Though she did turn into an angel at one point, which is kind of wild. And did survive the underworld already. So, she was willing to fight her way back. So, she's persistent. Is Elspeth like the first S tier? Because I'm trying to think of like negative things for Elspeth. We might have to move a Johnny and Elspeth both up to S tier. I think that's where we're going. Because Elspeth is actually pretty legit. Also, all of Elspeth's cards are kind of cool. So that plays a little bit of a role in the logic here. But yeah, I think that's what we're doing. I'm going to put Elspeth up in S tier. Matter of fact, I'm going to move a Johnny up to S tier. So like, we're already getting our first movements on the chart. Is this next one Estrid? Is that what her name is? I'm going to have to check this one too. I don't even remember. I don't think I've ever seen Estrid cast. I could be wrong. Yeah, it is Estrid. Oh, that's not true. I have, because I've played in one of the sealed with just the Planeswalker decks. Or Commander decks. I don't know anything about Estrid. I'm going to be honest with you. So, Yeah, give me one quick second.
A few moments later.
All right, well, that was quick. She doesn't even have a lot of lore in the wikis or anything, which is probably why I don't know much about her. But I will say this, kind of manipulative, right? Her whole shtick is having a bunch of different masks to have like the right thing at the right time. And I don't know, that's not going to sit great with me. But we don't know that much about the character, so I can't really drop her too low. So I'm going to say C tier because I wouldn't know what face I'm going to see when I'm at home. And that's a little bit weird. But on the plus side, that could be a bonus for you, I guess, if you want somebody who could just wear a mask and maybe look like somebody else, which is a little bit creepy. But hey, if you're into that, that's your jam. Freyalise. Freyalise has been around for a while. Didn't have a card for a long time. But, I mean, kind of like the thing that, or the person, the character that a lot of the green history is based around and characters look up to. So, I mean, can't be too low, but there's not a lot to really like hang our hat on, right? I'm just like, ugh. This is one where I'm kind of like, maybe, kind of, sorta, but I'm gonna go B tier with Freyalise, but I feel like I might end up dropping her down to C tier. Okay, never mind. I did a lore check because I knew there was something I was missing about Freyalise. Apparently, she gave her life up to save a whole chunk of people. So we gotta move her up. Like she's going straight to S tier, right? Loyal to the end, saved all of her people. Like we can't do her worse than that, right? She just gotta move up. Now Garruk's an interesting one because we had Garruk that was just the beast hunter, right? Like the manliest planeswalker there is going and hunting the beast. And then we had if you want to call it the cursed era, where he was just mad crazy and going after the most dangerous game, basically trying to hunt other planeswalkers. And then we had like post-curse Daddy Garruk, right? Where he's over like just watching, caring for the kids or whatever. So I don't know. I mean, we haven't even seen Garruk in a long time story-wise. So we don't even know what he's been up to or what he's like now. So I'm gonna just go maybe B tier on Garruk. Good old Garruk Wildspeaker, huh? That's crazy. I feel like he's one of the good guys, but because he went through the demon era, and we don't know how much he's or cursed era, I should say. We don't know how much he's still carrying that around or what his current mental state is. I'm just gonna give him a B, solid B. I don't think he has enough because like the curse isn't really his fault. So I'm not going to hold that against him too much. But I think the tiebreaker for B and C for me is he has some sweet cards. So we're going to put him in B. Gideon's also no longer with us. He died during War of the Spark. But was loyal. And he died for his friends. You know, like he took a bullet legit for Liliana. So we can't really dock him for that. Kind of a boring character. But if you just want that like stable person who's always going to be there to take the hit for you, you know, always going to look out for you. When somebody says, hey, I got your back, I'm your ride or die. Like Gideon was it, man, for real. So Gideon, wildly, while I'm not a fan of the character that much, I mean, you'd be hard pressed. I don't think any of these planeswalkers we're going to be able to say is truly more protective and loyal than Gideon was. So I think that's a good one. Whatley apparently is friendly with all the dinosaurs. So that's kind of cool if you want to pet Velociraptor or something. Also comes from a part of the country, world, whatever that they've built that is reminiscent of some other things we already know. Good food, probably. I'm assuming if they mirror real life. Yeah, Whatley's fine. I think Whatley's another one though, where while we've seen her a few times, I don't really know a lot of the lore and the character, which is a little bit of an issue. So I think, I could put her, I think she's going to go in B tier. I think she might go to A tier at some point, but I think right now squarely in B tier. This one, and I feel like this happened last time. I don't know who this character is. This is some weird dragon that I think it just go in the below F tier of I've never met this man in my life. because I don't know this art or this character. And I feel like even last time somebody tried to tell me something about it, but there's really not a lot on this character. I don't know why they're even included in this pile of Planeswalkers, but is what it is. Jace, bruh, this is a long talk with Jace because, like, Jace is manipulative, kind of thinks he's smarter than everybody else, constantly messing with his own brain to forget things so he doesn't have to be held responsible for his actions. Like Jace is just a bunch of walking red flags, man. I don't think we could give him anything more than F tier. This Jace, of all the core Gatewatch, he is not dating material. Definitely not marriage material. Not a character you would even want to mess with. Like, just not. Like, cool cards or whatever, but as a person, I don't even know if I'd want Jace as a friend. Like, you talk, he might gaslight you to the highest level. And honestly, still rooting for him to be the big bad in Reality Fracture, if I have my way. All right, I just took a quick second to go back and do a lore check on Huatli because I wasn't sure about a couple of things. And I was thinking it because, like, wait, didn't Huatli lose her spark? And she did, actually, during all that stuff that went down. So, doesn't really change anything. She's on the list. We're going to keep her here. But she did actually take down a bunch of the vampires without even having Planeswalker powers, which is kind of cool. So, I'm going to move her up to A tier for now. And then there was some other stuff I encountered, but we'll talk about it when we get to the other Planeswalkers here in a second. Next up, we have Jaya Ballard. And Jaya is an interesting one because there was like younger kind of, I don't know, like fire mage, hothead, little bit evil Jaya. And then there was like older, I'm going to help the Gatewatch during like War of the Spark type stuff Jaya. So I'm not sure where that sits her really because we can't put her top tier because of all the past history, but I don't know if there's enough good history to move her high on the list. So Jaya Ballard probably is just gonna sit at like C tier. Not really sure where I want to put her otherwise, which is a little tough. I was wondering who this was. This is Zhang Yangu, I believe is how you pronounce the last name. This is an interesting one because we don't know a lot about this character. It was one of the two Planeswalkers in the product they put out. It was a dual deck with the green Planeswalker, blue Planeswalker, and was done with Chinese lore, I believe with the locals and all that. So that was very cool. But, I mean, he's a dog person, and he's loyal to his dog, which is very sweet. So that's cool. But I think without knowing more to judge him more or less, I think you're just going to land squarely in B tier. Sadly. Karn. Karn is another interesting one. Man, there's a lot of interesting and weird stories behind some of these Planeswalkers. Karn is kind of always been a good guy, though he did get a little sloppy. And if I remember right, Karn's part of the reason we got a Phyrexian invasion because he carried some of the oil or whatever on him coming out of one of the things, or when he planeswalked once, I think. So, not fully responsible. And I guess he's been around since way back during like Urza Mishra, all that stuff. Because he's kind of one of their creations. Man, Karn. I guess Karn gets to be no less than B tier. Probably even A tier. I'm going to do again. Quick check. It'll probably get edited out. Y'all won't see this. But I'm going to go make sure I'm not missing something on Karn.
A few moments later.
All right. Lore check says I don't have anything negative to really hit Karn with. So Karn, you're going up to A tier. Maybe by the end of this might slide into S tier. Because everything about him, like he's been loyal, he's been protective, he's helped fight off the bad guys multiple times. Like, he's kind of what you want. Now, he is just a golem, so maybe that keeps him from being S tier. But regardless, still kind of cool, did a bunch of awesome stuff. All right, all I could find out on Kasmina is that she's just some kind of spy or secret mage of some kind. And we really don't know much about her. She's been around since War of the Spark was when we first saw her, and I think she got a thing in Strixhaven last time. So I say we just put her in C tier for now. I don't think there's much more to talk about on her. Just not a lot of history there to go on or that deep of a story. Ooh, Kaya. Kaya's going to be a tough one because I'm not really one to do all the creepy stuff, but Kaya can like go between worlds and take out demons. You know what though? Maybe she could be a protector and keep the crazy spirits and demons off of me, because she can go into the netherworld and get like the undead or whatever. So there's that. But she did side with the bad guys at different times, if I'm not mistaken. So there is that component to it. I'm going to check that out while I'm talking to y'all this time. But I mean, that's got to be fine, right? I mean, she's from Tolvada. She appeared on Fiora, like, was around during all of Ravnica, obviously. Let's see. Did she work with Zarek for a point? I mean, there's a lot of history here. She's been around for a while. I can't give her too high marks, honestly. I think because I don't know if I'd totally be able to trust her, that's going to be my real issue. And she's kind of worked with and against some of the good characters, which makes it a little weird. But man, I'm just thinking about all the times we've seen Kaya. She's been all over the place. Doesn't have like the most consistent story from what I can tell, but man, she's made a lot of appearances in places. I think I'm going to put Kaya, I mean, because she's still kind of an assassin, you know? And assassins you can only rate so high. I think she's going C tier. If we're talking about potential partners, mates, whatever, like, the assassin portion just puts her in a category that, like, you can't overly trust her. Kiora. All right, well, hopefully you're not allergic to seafood or anything, because there's going to probably be a lot of fish around with Kiora, being a merfolk. I mean, Kiora's a tough one, too. I mean, Kiora's another one that we've heard so much about that I don't know if the lore comes through in the cards real well. And I think that's kind of my issue here. And that's the thing with a lot of these Planeswalkers, right? I've played with them, but don't know much about their backstories. And I think Kiora sort of falls into that for me. That, you know, we've seen her with War of the Spark. We've seen her with, I was going to say Zendikar. Actually, that was a time. And outside of that, don't really know much about the character. So, I mean, she seems like people look up to her and everything else, especially in the Merfolk kingdoms, I guess. But I don't think that's enough to get super high rank. So, C tier, because I don't have enough to move you up or down. You're kind of just somewhere in the middle. Okay, Koth of the Hammer. He seems to always be on the right side of things. Though he lives in Phyrexia, he's kind of part of the resistance against the Phyrexians, I guess, probably the best way to look at it. Fought him off a couple times. He did go into hiding for a while, you know, hoping that the resistance were able to overcome them or whatever. I mean, seems cool. Now, if you're a person who likes keeping the temperature low, I don't know if that's going to work for Koth, and y'all are going to have a conflict. So that's going to be an issue. But if you're okay being a bit warmer, or maybe you run a bit cold at night and you want to be warmed up, like, Koth is probably your guy. You know what I mean? So I'm going to give, surprisingly, Koth might be a solid A tier. I don't think he has too many red flags. I'm sure somebody's in the comments could be like, but there was this time in the story, which you might be right. But from what my quick glance says, we're putting him squarely in the A tier. Oh, man, I wish I remember what I ranked Liliana last time. But the more I think about it, Liliana... And I know people love Liliana. She's been around. She has great cards and all that. So I get it. I know people are going to hate wherever I place this character. But the thing about Liliana that sort of bothers me is she made a deal, not just with one demon, but like a group of demons. And then had to become kind of obsessed with getting out of this contract for a long time. And then kind of sort of technically got her friend Gideon killed. But because of that, she did end up going to become a teacher at Strixhaven. And I don't know if that was to like, I don't know, make good on the next generation because she feels bad or whatever the case is. But I don't know. I think I questioned some of Liliana's decision making. Now, if I remember right, some of that was to help protect her brother or something. That I think he eventually still got corrupted or something along the way. But I can't. I think Liliana's a B tier for me. If we're again not talking about power of the cards or the character, or whatever, just as far as possible partner material, I think Liliana's a B tier for me. I'm sure in others she's going to be higher, lower, whatever. People are going to freak out about it, but B tier for me. Mu Ling is another one where she just kind of, and that same thing with Zhang. They were part of that special set. There's not a lot of lore. She seems like a cool character that would be friendly, loyal, whatever. So no negatives, but nothing we can hang our hat on. So I think she just ends up in B tier. Kind of for the same things with Zhang, where you have a couple of positive traits, but nothing that we can go, oh, this is the thing you've done, right? Like you just don't have a bunch of red flags. So that's probably about the most we could do for you. Oh, Nahiri. Nahiri. No. Like, Nahiri's kind of crazy. Like, Nahiri is willing to go to the ends of the earth, if I remember right, to just hunt Sorin forever. So, like, that already makes you, we're like, you're too obsessed. Like, I'd be afraid to piss somebody off like that in a relationship. Like, you don't know where you're going to, hell, I was going to say, you know how it's going to end up. You don't know where you're going to end up is the issue. So, like, we can't do more than that. D tier at the very least. I don't know if it's, because the other thing is, she might obsess over you and just keep everybody away from you. So if you want that type of protector, maybe that's bonus points. For me, nah, can't do it. D tier, teetering on F tier. Honestly, she might be able to go a step lower. All right, everything I could find on Narset says that, one, she generally fights for peace. She obviously fought against Bolas, so that's a big deal. She knows martial arts. She's also really smart. So she got a lot of characteristics and traits going for her that are very positive. And there was some other stuff like an alternate timeline because of the whole thing with Tarkir and all that stuff. But generally speaking, I think I'm putting Narset pretty high. At least A tier, might be S tier. I'm gonna double check the lore real quick while we're talking, but I don't think there's that like huge moment of like I did this thing to selfless act whatever type thing that I could find. So and she does have some issues with like seeing visions of past and future because she sees different timelines, I guess. So that's a little bit of a thing. But I think she could be squarely in the A tier. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Narset, you get a win. Oh, Nicol Bolas. I'm sure some other people also are going to be like, S tier. Like, we're not talking about quality of cards. We're talking about character. And, okay, here's the thing about Nicol Bolas, right? This is a dude, a dragon, not even a dude, I guess, that for whatever, the better part of, 8 years or 10 years in real time, was basically showing up in all the stories, just lying to people, manipulating people, setting up stuff to let people do this and that, all to create parts and get things for his master plan. So he basically just gaslighted the whole multiverse till he got to the point of what he wanted, right? Like that automatically makes you F tier material. Why did I say S? Hell no. Makes you F tier material, right? Like he's the biggest of bads. He manipulated everybody. He tried to take out worlds of people. He tried to turn gods against their own people. He did all kinds of stuff, right? Like there's nothing good about Bolas, realistically. Now, I don't know, maybe we'll talk about it in the Discord, a video for another time. I do think he might be able to show up and play a little bit of role in Reality Fracture if things go the way I want, but still don't think that's going to move him up even a tier. He's straight up F tier. Nissa. I bet I said something really funny about Nissa the last time we did this. Mostly because while the majority of the time Nissa is a good guy, and well-meaning, she is very much like elves come first. You know what I mean? Like, and I guess Chandra as you started getting sweet on Chandra, but that already is going to stop some issues. So I think for my money, while I do think Nissa's a cool character, I think Nissa has some sweet cards. I think Nissa can't be better than A tier. Partly because she'll go like one step away from Nazi to protect elves, from what I understand. But she's powerful, cool, loyal to a fault, but I think that puts her in A tier. Nixilis, I think wasn't he one of the demons as part of Liliana's contract deal, or did I make that up? I probably did. But either way, I mean, he's big bad demon, manipulative, bad guy. Like, again, can't be super important or super high ranked. Obviously very important. He was like a conqueror and everything in his, I guess, pre-Spark life. I guess we want to call it that. I don't know how we classify that. Pre-Spark, post-Spark, maybe. Other than that, yeah, I mean, he was trapping people. Like, he fought against Gideon, and we know Gideon's one of the good guys. Especially when Gideon was trying to imprison one of the Eldrazi, right? So that doesn't make you one of the good guys, because the Eldrazi were terrible. Yeah, I think this has to be bad. I mean, he did help fight against Bolas, but I don't think that's enough, because everybody was fighting against Bolas during War of the Spark. I think that just is what it is. And then in New Capenna, he became a mob boss, basically. So, like, yeah, bruh, you got to be at least D tier. I'm not going to put you on the very bottom, because that's where all the for real, like, manipulative gaslighters, whatever, go. He's just like a villain character. Has a few redeeming traits, but I think he goes squarely in the D tier. Okay, so Zarek is one of the more, I don't know, like, his history is very kind of all over the place. Because he started out technically working for Nicol Bolas, but it was also like a secret disguise Bolas, so he didn't know at the time, and he discovered later. And he did try to come back and like stop Oko from doing crazy stuff. Like, he obviously fought against Bolas when it mattered. You know, he came back and he protected, or was he at least caring for his people in Ravnica, so that's kind of cool. I mean, we already know he's at least reasonable partner material because he's got a partner now. I like, I'm going to say A tier because he has some questionable past. Doesn't have like that huge thing that makes me want to move him to an S tier, but he's cool. He's cool. I don't think we can say he's too bad. Obviously, somebody else already thinks highly of him, right? I went looking, and I bet I did this last time, but I don't know who this character is. I have no clue what that art is even from. My first thought was it was one of the Kinrith kids just in a cloak, but we have both of them still in our list of characters. So I don't know. So I'm just putting it in. I've never met this man in my life. I don't know who that is. Yeah, there's not a lot on Rowan and Will at this point, other than that their dad was a king. You know, they lost their spark at some point. That's kind of the bulk of their backstory. I can't rate her highly, though, because honestly, like, let's be real. If she was used to being treated like royalty, you're going to have a hard bit to live up to. Though the other side is she probably has a bunch of money. So there is that. You could get spoiled quite a bit. So I'm going to put her in B tier. Enough positives that we can't rate her low. One or two, social type red flags that we can't rate her really high. So this is kind of where she goes. I know it's kind of like a little bit of a cop-out, but Rowan Kenrith, that's where you end up. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I couldn't find anything real negative on Saheeli. Like, she's smart. She's an inventor, right? She's got something going on with Watley. Like, she's helped the Gatewatch when it was necessary. So, like, she's been on the right side of everything. I mean, Doesn't have like that huge moment, but I don't even know if I have a red flag against Saheeli. Honestly, Saheeli might be S tier just for not having significant red flags of any kind. So, like, cool, you know what I mean? Like, because I went back and looked. I was looking at the lore entry on the wiki, and I'm just like, oh, okay, maybe there's something here I forgot about. It's like, no, she always seems to be on the right side of everything. Has friendships and relationships with like all the good guys, like just kind of everything you want. So, yeah. All right, I would venture to guess. The last time I did this, I didn't rank Samut as highly as I'm probably going to, but I went back through and read some of Samut's history. And first, I've noticed Samut might be the only one of these characters who sparked without having major trauma. Like, sparked because actually saved somebody from one of the gods or whatever, and just from the euphoria caused her spark to ignite. So that's actually kind of cool. But also led all the people of Amonkhet, you know, against the bad guys when she figured out like the everything was a lie, you know, the cake is a lie or whatever they say, right? Sort of what the situation was. So, I mean, again, this is a character that I don't think there's any red flags against. Like doing all the right things, done all the right things, saved the whole plane effectively, or at least alerted them so they didn't all just die. You know, that's a thing. So, yeah, I don't think I rated Samut highly previously, but knowing what I know now, Samut, moving on up. Tezzeret, or no, this what did I say? Tezzeret. Tezzeret's way later. This is Sarkhan, actually. Uh, Sarkhan, I don't know. I feel like Sarkhan's mostly been fine to my knowledge. This is where I think the lore is going to prove me wrong. Because if somebody asked me, I would say Sarkhan's probably always been a positive figure. But it is weird too, because we have like the before and after timeline type thing with Sarkhan, which makes it kind of weird. But I mean, he doesn't seem to really be a big fan of Bolas and Ugin or whatever, which, you know, I can get. I'm not either. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel like there's a lot, you know, had some run-ins with Narset, I guess. But nothing terrible. I don't know what to do with this information. There's a lot on Sarkhan, actually. There's a good write-up in here. But I have to say, Sarkhan probably just mid-tier for me. I don't think there's enough for me to go on one way or the other. It feels like there's a lot there, and I feel like it says nothing. You know, so probably just, I mean, he's busy hurting dragons all day. Or at least having to fight dragons off, and he seems kind of obsessed with them. Also, at times, turns himself into a dragon. So there's that, too. So I'm going to put him in C tier for lack of anything else. Okay, so the biggest thing on Serra that I think is going to be a major drawback here is this is a character that created angels. Like, is credited with creating the first angels on Dominaria, or in Magic, I guess, effectively. So, like, you can't ever live up to anything, right? Because you'd be like, oh, I did this and it's awesome. She's like, yeah, I made angels. You know, like, I mean, like, that's got to keep you from just being like, you're always going to be far inferior in this relationship. And, you know, character has since passed and all these people worship her, and it's been followed by Radiant and Elspeth and whatever. So, yeah, cool character, really good. I don't think Serra is the type of character that would ever be, maybe not even be interested in partnering. So I'm just going to put her in B tier. Nothing bad as far as I can tell from the lore, just one of those things that, like, she's more a god almost even than a planeswalker. So, like, almost like the earliest definition of a planeswalker, but then we kind of simplified it down so we could have more characters as planeswalkers. Sort of the vibe I get. Yeah, this next one, 100%. I probably said the same thing as last time. No clue who this character is. Just going into, I've never met this man in my life. Don't even recognize that artwork. Like, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, did this. Still don't recognize the artwork from anywhere. Okay, to Sorin. We all know different things about Sorin because he's popped up several times. My issue is anytime you have a character that is going to be described as a morally gray anti-hero, like, you can't get close to S tier, right? Like, it'd be like the Punisher can never get to S tier. You know what I mean? Because, like, he's willing to just go out and just shoot up a bunch of people if it's necessary, right? He'll take the risk if it means getting the bad guys or whatever. Like, while your mission might be good at times, like, your methods make it where, you just can't be top tier. Plus, he's a vampire, so you got to figure out how much you trust that. Can't put him in... can we put him in C tier? I mean, he does have his most recent Planeswalker card, I think, is the one where he looks like he looks like the dude that just hangs outside of high schools and tries to pick up younger chicks, which is creepy. So I'm going to put him into C tier. I'm sure people are going to argue that big time, but that's where he's going right now. Yeah, Tamiyo kind of reminds me that since the last time we did this, lots of the Planeswalkers have either died or lost their spark, because Tamiyo is no longer with us. And I say no longer with us like she was a real character or a real person. But was fairly loyal until the point that she got turned into, or whatever, she got completed or whatever by the Phyrexians. And then, got sent back to take over her own plane. Good guy showed up, fought her off, killed her. So this is a weird one, because do we judge Tamiyo like pre-completion? Because if we do, she's got to be no less than A tier, right? I think that's where I'm gonna put her, because I don't feel like the Phyrexians corrupting you really counts. You know what I mean? Like, that's not something you did. Same reason we don't hold some stuff against other characters. I think that's just a thing you just had happen to you. That's not necessarily a trait of the character. All right, next up we have Teferi. And I would venture to guess I had Teferi pretty high last time. I mean, the fact that Teferi literally was willing to try to, push himself to limit to protect his entire home plane. So that's a thing, right? We know he's a good family guy and all that stuff. So again, like, now don't be wrong, not a fan of his cards. I think his cards are mostly played in decks that aren't fun to play or play against. That's just me. But as a character, he has to be either A or S tier. He's got to be S tier, right? Like, you saved an entire plane. You are somebody everybody looks up to. You've helped lead people through different things. You already are proving to be a family guy. Like, that's got to be up there. I think this next one is Teo, but Teo's another one that I don't know a lot of. I think he has something to do with Tamiyo, but otherwise I don't think there's much. We saw him in War of the Spark, I think, is when he first came around, and then I don't think we know much about him kind of after that, other than I think he was helping at some point with, like, Kaya to help find Liliana. But yeah, I think he's just going to go in C tier. I just don't feel like I know enough or can find enough to really help me make a decision. Oh, Tezzeret. Tezzeret has to be, like, I don't even think I know all of Tezzeret's history, and I'm still like, yeah, he's probably just going in a low tier, just being a bad dude. I mean, he was willing to work for Bolas. He's, manipulated people to steal items for different things. Like, I mean, there's a lot of history on him, though, in the wiki, to be honest, like, if people haven't seen it. But, I mean, he's kind of wanted to join some of the shady parts of different consortiums and things. Like, we just can't put him on the good side of anything. I don't know if Tezzeret's ever been a good guy. He's might have done some nice things when it was necessary, but yeah, dude's just not it. I think he's gonna go probably D tier. Can't put him on F tier because that's, like, Bolas manipulated him in some ways, but he also went along with it. I don't think this dude really counts. He's the dude that shows up on all the curses. I'm sure he has a character name, but you just go in and I've never met this man before. The Wanderer, or the Wandering Emperor. This is another one where I don't think I know much of the lore other than a little bit that showed up last time we were in Kamigawa, I think. But she's the current emperor of Kamigawa, which, counts for something. And friends with Kaido, so that's cool. But then otherwise, just a bunch of random excerpts of like, showed up on the good side of stuff. Mentioned earlier, she fought Tamiyo, Tamiyo when Tamiyo was completed and tried to come do some crazy stuff back on her home plane. So, yeah, mostly cool. I think you get an A tier. I don't think anything crazy, but, you're on the side of good on most things. So I think that's solid. Oh, boy. Tibalt. If you're into demons, I guess. But I think Tibalt, again, he's more just like a chaos dude, right? Like, you wouldn't have any stability in that relationship. Like, the dude, he likes to, like, bring the environment of different demons and imps or whatever. Though, they're also kind of part of the reason he is the way he is, so there is that. But, yeah, he also is dead, I think. I need to double check this wiki, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened to him. Yeah, I think he got neutralized after being completed at some point. But yeah, dude, D tier. That's the most we can do with that. Oh, Ugin. Okay. Ugin's a tough one because he's kind of I don't like Ugin. I don't like Ugin as a card, so I'm gonna try to put that away. I don't like any of those. But Ugin kind of hates his brother, who's Nicol Bolas, who is super manipulative and terrible. So there is that. And I guess they're twins, him and Nicol Bolas. I didn't know that. So there's a thing we learned today. Or maybe y'all knew and I just learned. But I guess he's fine-ish. He did help deal with the Eldrazi, so you got to give him credit for that. The other characters thought enough of him to rescue him at one point. So, you're gonna get a solid B tier, I think. Because again, nothing crazy other than taking out Nicol Bolas, which is pretty big, right? You save the multiverse by getting rid of him, so that is a big thing. That earns you a couple points. But beyond that, I don't think I have much else to go on that says that, like, oh, this is the reason we got to really, really push this character. Oh, Urza. No. Urza is like one of the most manipulative, egomaniacal characters in Magic's history. So there's no way. Like, if you, again, just walking red flags, there's nothing. I'm going to see, like, I'm going through right now, seeing if I can find something positive briefly on him, but, like, the dude was participating, like, eugenics and stuff. Like, just, like, this is not good. I think everything about Urza is bad. He's just an obsessed, crazy person with magic and invention powers, I guess. But, yeah, no, we're just going to go... You, buddy, you get to be in the F tier. Go hang out with Nicol Bolas. I almost forgot about Venser. I literally had to go look up stuff to see if there was going to be something I should be aware of. Though, really creepy thing I didn't know about Venser is when he passed, Elish Norn brought him back like his husk, and he was like a servant puppet. I don't know. It's very weird. So that's very gross and creepy. But as a character, like, teamed up with Koth, fought some things off, like, seems cool. I don't have anything super crazy to put on him. I didn't realize he didn't have that much lore, wasn't around all that long, but he did die when he lost his spark. So I don't know what the circumstances were there. I'd have to go read deeper. But figured it was a thing worth noting. All right, so here's the thing. If you're going to get with Vivien, you got to be an animal person. surrounded by animals, makes ghost animals, is attracted to being around animals. That's kind of like her whole shtick. And, she's obviously a good archer. So if you like animals, then Vivien's probably going to be your person. And she seems to be on the right side of a bunch of stuff. Again, I don't think she has like that super big moment to prove anything. So I don't think she's S tier quality, but I think we could make an argument that she's at least A tier. Made no major red flags of any kind. She's been on the side of good pretty much every time. Unfortunately, she tries to honor her homeworld, that was destroyed by Bolas at some point. So yeah, I'm down to put Vivien in A tier. I bet I did that last time too. Oh, Vraska. See, Vraska's a weird one because she was a bad guy basically for a long time, but then when all the stuff started getting deep with Bolas toward the War of the Spark, she kind of became more understanding of like, I probably shouldn't be doing all this crazy stuff. But you're also a Gorgon and can turn things to stone, I guess, because you're a Medusa, and that's kind of weird. Yeah, I think just because the whole Medusa thing, I can't go higher than C tier, and I know that's gonna upset some people, but I mean, what do you want to do, man? She's Medusa. Also, another character. Pretty sure last time. Still don't know who this is. So you're going into, I've never met this man in my life. Will Kinrith, I think kind of the same thing, though he is a king now, I think. I think he's King Will, no longer Prince Will. So sure, I guess he can go in B tier. Not a lot of history. Seems like he's fine, but he's a king. Might get crazy with power. Who knows? I'm going to be real with y'all. I don't even know the lore on Lord Windgrace. I didn't even know where to find it. So, I mean, he looks cool. He looks like if Black Panther was a bear, or I guess technically he could still be a panther based on this picture. I mean, I can't really, C tier, because just the middle, we don't know anything good or bad that I could base this on. He apparently has some loyal followers from different things, but nothing that outright says that he's great. Maybe it's just under Windgrace. Maybe I can find that. Okay, cool. So we did find some lore on him, because I was looking under Lord Windgrace, but you just have to look under Windgrace. I guess he wasn't always a lord, as it were. Again, not a ton of history on this character. Shows up where he shows up in some stories and things. But yeah, I think we're just gonna leave him in C tier. There's not much here. He was able to take control of a few things, protect some stuff, but protected his followers, I guess. There's that, but not a lot to go on. So I think he just gets C tiered up. Yeah, Xenagos is kind of a bad dude. I had to double check the lore to make sure, but I was correct. He pretty much was just going crazy trying to become a god. And then even when he did, he couldn't sustain it. So then he had to I don't know, take in a bunch of creatures or consume them or something, whatever. And then that created more chaos. So the dude's just this is F tier level. You have somebody who's obsessed with he's just a megalomaniac, basically, right? You can't. That's just terrible partner material. Quintorius Khan is actually kind of chill as far as everything I could find. And kind of just a fun-loving, positive, upbeat nerd, Downside, he does kind of deal with stuff that involves spirits and whatnot, because it's kind of the shtick of the lore hold or whatever. So you do have that kind of looming, but that aside, I think he's a solid A-tier character. I think we can do that and not feel too bad about it. Ooh, Ren. I guess technically Ren and Realmbreaker, Ren and 6, Ren and whatever, right? I think this character, just constantly tries to be a tree that combines itself with something else and takes in the spirit of whatever. I think that's how that works. Either way, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I saw The Exorcist when I was little, and that tree outside the window thing, man, that messed me up for about a good month when I was a kid. So there ain't no way I could justify being with a character that is at some point actually going to be that tree and try to take over my body and thoughts or something or whatever. I don't know how that works. Such a weird character. But no, not material. You're going into D tier because there might be somebody that's like a super environmentalist that thinks that'd be sweet to be a tree. So like maybe that's a thing, but definitely not for me. Now, Kaito's in one where I don't necessarily love the Kaito cards because of the decks they go into. But this is a character that seems to have been on the good side of everything. He is a cyber ninja, so that's a thing. He also has a cyber raccoon pet, which is kind of cool. Doesn't seem like there's major red flags on Kaito, as it turns out. And you would think with a blue-black character, there'd be some stuff there. But as far as I can tell, he's at least solidly in the A tier just because, right? Like a bunch of positives, works with the right people, wants to save folks, like protects his home plane. I don't think there's anything here to really complain about. Oko is like the dude that is like, if you're into frat boys, sure, because he's always into something crazy, joking, but other characters call him up when they need dirty jobs done, basically. I don't think like this has to be a D tier. Like, don't be wrong. The dude loves showing off his abs. So if you're just here for a good looking body and a good time, like maybe that's your dude. If you're looking for somebody long term though, I don't think he's what you want. So I mean it's C or D, right? I'm gonna put him in D tier just because like I don't know how much you could even trust him. Honestly, being a trickster and all that good stuff. While I was searching through something just a second ago, I think this is a character called Vronos. Though we don't really know much about them, so probably couldn't move them more above like C tier anyway. Maybe even D tier, because like it's just random character. But at least I can move it out of like, I've never met this man in my life. Dahada. I don't know much about Dahada either. I know Dahada showed up on a card in one of the commander decks. And to my knowledge, that's kind of all we know about that character. I don't know if there's anything relevant that we can hang our hat on here. There's really not. Just a couple of paragraphs. She's a demonic planeswalker, as it turns out. Didn't know that. She was around with Dakin when he forged the Black Blade, and that's kind of it. Not really much going on here. Turned around to the Planeswalkers War. But yeah, I don't know. You're a demon on top of it, so like that automatically keeps you from going too high. You're gonna be C or D tier. Probably C tier just because I don't have the big red flags to hang against you. I guess it means I need to move Vronos up as well, because that's only fair. And then I think that just leaves me with Basri Ket. And Basri Ket's another character we've only seen a couple of times. I think he only got a regular card, and then he later got a spark on a card as we saw everybody else is losing their spark, which is kind of interesting. I don't know how that really works out timeline-wise. It says he's a sand mage, which is something you don't really hear much, but he is from Amonkhet, so that makes sense. And yeah, not much on this character either. Just kind of general stuff, I guess. Like nothing, like there's some history as far as like where he grew up and all that, but nothing real wild. I don't even know when he sparked. Oh no, it says he lost his planeswalking ability in the desparketing. So I guess he did lose it, but we just got a card to show him after the fact. So, all right, so he's not even a planeswalker right now. Again, another character that seems mostly fine. Nothing too crazy. I guess you'll go in C tier because there's not a lot to go on there. But all right, I think that's going to be... Is there anybody I want to move, actually, before I say this? I feel pretty good with this ranking of characters. Because this, again, this isn't strength of character, popular. This is just, how would you size them up if you were... Even if you had a friend who was thinking about dating one of these characters, would you say this is a good or a bad move? I think this is solid. Because I'm looking at the S tier and I'm like, yeah, those are all good characters. Those are all cool people. They're all looking out for you. They've all like went out of their way to save people on their planet or their plane. You know, they're doing their thing. A tier, bunch of characters that, hey, we don't really have. You haven't had that big moment I could put on you to move you to S tier. And you might have one or two small things, but like y'all are good folks, right? Everybody's positive here. B tier is like, you're mostly good. We maybe don't have any red flags to count against you, but nothing huge to move you up. C tier, like, a little bit of good, a little bit of bad. Not sure. Like, if somebody I knew wanted to date one of them and they wanted to gamble, I'd be okay with it, but I'd be keeping a side eye. And then D and F, I just, no, you don't even, why? You know, like, why would be the question. So, like, yeah, I don't know. You'll let me know if you like these kind of fun videos, silly stuff. If you learned anything from the lore we were sharing, because I learned some stuff in this video, which is very cool. But